Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today we're going to talk about suicidal empathy and how you, as a prepper, could try to find balance or some thought experiments about it, how to handle it. And before we do that, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link to my first book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch. If you're interested, take a look to the link in the description. Alright, so suicidal empathy. This is a word that I've been hearing a lot lately, and it's more in the context of with the illegal migrations that are happening all over the world. And yeah, the thing is, it made me think about what in what other situations can this be applied, this word suicidal empathy. And I came to some thoughts and some videos that I've made in the past about helping yourself before others. And yeah, the thing is, you can share, you can help, but I don't think you should do this to detriment of you, your partner, your children, family, friends, neighbor, and then outsiders. There is a certain hierarchy of people you are going to help if you can, and others people less. And there is no shame in this. It is not only survival, a survival instinct. It is also out of love. And yeah, this might be a little bit difficult to. I will explain this later in the video. So keep on to that thought. I would say if you're going to help other persons, first of all, help your, if you can, if you're able to help yourself, you are able to help others. If you only have enough food for yourself to survive and you share it, then both of you are going to die. It is the same thing as on an airplane. They always say on an airplane, if those oxygen mask come down, always put the mask on yourself first, and then you put it on the person next to you or your children. And you know why? Because if the pressure is when the plane is going to a lower altitude, to if there is a pressure, a loss of pressure in the cabin, and yeah, the oxygen is very low. Yeah, in that moment, if you are going to help the other or your children first, you might pass out while doing it. So that means if you help yourself, you have oxygen, and now you can fully functioning with enough oxygen help others around you who are perhaps in stress, in panic, or they don't know how to put this on. And yeah, that is also, yeah, that is the reason. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about if you're going to help other persons. I made a video about a so-called care bag. Excuse me. A care bag is a bag that you make for people who come knocking on the door for help. And I would say this bag should contain something like water, a little bit food, a little fire starter, that kind of stuff, perhaps a candle or whatever for light. So something very small, but it should be small enough that their needs are fulfilled, but it should be, and they can get on their way, but it should be enough that they can go a certain distance so they don't think I'm already running out, I'm going back to the person that I got the care bag from. So that is finding a balance between giving them so they can go on, but give them enough so they don't come back, but also don't give too much or show that you show too much by a neatly organized thing, because if you just make it look like you throw some things inside of it, very mixed, very in a weird way, so to say. So they must think you must give them the impression that oh, they probably don't have that much left over for themselves, and they give this to me. So that could also help them to go further away, even after you help them, so they won't take advantages of your goodwill, so to say, and give a signal. And that is also a little bit in a part of suicidal empathy. If you give everything that you think that a person needs, if you give them too much, like I said, they will come back, or they will rob you because they think you can share enough. So that's something that you need to think about. And in a more of a begin scenario, I would say, or a war or whatever, if you're going to help somebody with stuff, skills, supplies, whatever, I would say make sure you make clear that you will help them, but you will not keep helping them. It's a starter package, so to say. So you will give them knowledge, you give them room to improve their own skills, so they will not be they should not be rely on your skills for long term. You give them a short term bridge so they can cross it and go further on their own. And to keep, in the worst case, to keep them alive. So that is something that I learned from in the history of the Russian Civil War in the 1920s. The thing was, many people would say, if you got a family and you brought and there is a famine like in the Russian Civil War, and yeah, who should get the food? If you have a family like two children, female man, who should get the biggest portion of the food? Most people would say the children, of course, and every parent would say the children, of course. And yeah, sounds logical, but it's usually the man who goes out to do the dangerous task, whether it's hunting, stealing, or gathering, working for the food that you bring to the table. But if this person, the breadwinners, in this case literally the breadwinner, would be so malnourished and weak that he cannot even help anymore. He cannot even help anymore the people that were rely on him, his children, his wife. So yeah, many people would say, yeah, but you're being an asshole. Yeah, that's evil, an asshole that you don't give it everyone equally. I would say the person who is able to produce or get the most stuff should be the one who gets the best pieces of the food, I would say. Just because they can do it again better than the others, so they are not starving or getting weaker every time. You need to be the best potential out of your best asset, is what I'm trying to say, if I'm making any sense. All right. Another thing I would say is another thing that I heard, and this was during the COVID period, when they were talking about hoarders. They were demonizing hoarders as selfish people, and it's because of those people that there was nothing left in the stores, even though the stores would be empty anyway within so many days. So yeah, that's kind of that's something that took me by surprise, and yeah, that's a way to awakening guilt in the population. But if you don't do that, you will be considered bad, not a team player. You will be considered, you will even be blamed that there are shortages. But just because you were able, or you were thinking ahead to get more supplies before it ran out, yeah, you're the bad one now. But at least you can help your family, your family and your neighbors when shit hit the fan, when it gets that bad. But yet again, if you would say, "Oh, I'm not going to get the most of it out of it that I can't," then that's suicidal empathy. Because yeah, Now you don't have that much. Other people who would not have that much wouldn't also have much, so it doesn't even really matter in that regard. If you look at it from a survival prepper point of view, so yeah, that's something that you should think about if you before you accuse people about that they are hoarders in that way. There is another, how would say this? There is an example of this, and it is something that I seen from this, what is the name? This South African and this American people, guys who lived in China, and they made a lot of videos about so-called grab hacks. These are people who went through, who still remember, or they were raised by a family or parents who went through the Great Famine of China. So in China there was this, in a lot of places there is this mentality of you got to take everything before the other does, or otherwise you will starve. That is kind of the mentality that is brought up in their upbringing because of this horrible part of their history. And yeah, you see all these people when there is something like a buffet, how do you call it, buffet or something open up in the market. People will swarm it. It's like a Black Friday. Black Friday is a good example of this too. That people push other people around. They take as much without any guilt, and that is bad because that is just for trivial stuff, and then it's, I would consider it very bad and bad behavior and selfish. But when there is a survival scenario like we saw in Palestine, where there were convoys with food that were just swarmed by people and anybody took there, and people who stood outside of that circle robbed people who got their hands on their food. Are they bad people, or are they trying to survive? How would you handle that situation? Because if you would say, yeah, you are being an aggressor, you're being a thief, you're being a robber, a bad person, yeah, but in an emergency situation, famine, whatever, you will be the one who will be starving. And that's a big difference between grab hacks in a modern time, when there is not a famine, or during a shitty defense situation, like a war, famine, that kind of stuff. So yeah, there is a certain nuance in this. Another thing that comes to mind about suicidal empathy was a scene from the movie with the tanks, Fury, with Brad Pitt, I think. And there was this scene where the Americans captured, one of the captured Germans wore an American uniform. So he probably stole it from an American that he killed. So, and yeah, in the Americans, their eyes, because also I think he was SS, they were going to execute him anyway, I think. And because wearing an enemy uniform is also a death penalty in that time, in the scene they had a new recruit, a fresh green behind the ears, and this recruit, because of a certain action that he hesitated to shoot during that they were ambushed, one of the other tanks blew up and set fire to the other crew, and the commander of the tank blamed him because he was too scared or too empathic to shoot at the Germans. So he wanted, if you look at the scene, firstly you would think he's forcing the recruit to take his pistol and to shoot the unarmed German prisoner with an American uniform, with an American jacket on, to shoot him while the German was pleading for his life. And yeah, if you really analyze that scene, there is in a way it makes sense, because this guy, this commander, is a veteran. All the other tank crew were also veterans. They've been through a lot. So first of all, that we are talking about PTSD and apathy, because yeah, you've killed so many people and went through so long in the war. It was the end of the war almost, so they've been through war and through so many battle experience. But the new guy, the guy who was the replacement, he was, like I said, green behind the ears. He said, I don't want to kill him. I want kill me instead. This is also another form of suicidal empathy, uh, because they were going to shoot this guy, this German prisoner anyway. So, and this guy didn't want to have the guilt of it to shoot another person, especially if they are unarmed. But in the eyes of the tank commander, he did it out of love. Yeah, might sound weird, but follow me. He forced the recruit to shoot a German soldier because he knew if you are if you going to learn to shoot someone, it must happen before it could go very wrong. So in the next ambush, and there would still be doubt that they are all dead. So that was a, it might sound cruel, but a good opportunity to harden the recruit, force him to shoot a German prisoner so he would get used to the killing, and in that way he will not hesitate during the next ambush, and that is more safe for his crew that he's been through so many battles and through so long during the war. So in a way, he did it because he loved his tank crew so much that he would do such an act in order to make sure that his friends, his colleagues, his tank crew, his brothers in arms would survive the war. So that's another way to look at this scene. And most people would say, this is horrible, that man is a criminal. But if you look at it from this way, yeah, that is out of love. And this is something that happens a lot actually. If you look at military records or biographies, they often mention that people who did heroic things during a battle, carry a wounded under fire, going to an enemy bunker alone with hand grenades to take it out with big risk for his life, carry a message through barbed wire under fire and artillery. And you know why? What they also noticed? Most people who did these kind of heroic things, they did it out of love. Yeah, they usually were one of the older siblings, and they always had to take care of their younger siblings. And that is something that was often seen in this kind of people who did these heroic things, because their new siblings, because they were growing up taking care of their younger siblings, now they are in a unit with their brothers in arms, and they love their fellow soldiers, their brothers in arms, so well that they would risk their life for it. So yeah, that's also a way to look at it. If you're going to do something that would be considered bad, like waving somebody away from, no, I don't have any food, you lie to it, or you just scare them away, or you don't want to help somebody who is in need to the detriment of yourself. If you're going to say no, and you have a family to take care of, that is out of love you do that. And if you wouldn't do that, that's, like I said, suicidal empathy. Another scene I could think about is the Road. The book and the movie The Road. There is this scene where they help somebody. They found a whole bunker full of food and they dragged it with a cart. They met somebody. They gave him some food, and they took him on the road with them, even though the father was very wary of this person. But in the end, he trusted him, went to sleep, and suddenly the guy that they took on just ran off with the cart with all the food. So yeah, that was the first mistake. Don't trust anybody. Yeah, I know he wanted to set a good. He listened to his son and wanted to be a good person to show his son that there's still some good in the world. But the cart was stolen, and they catch up with the thief. So that is in an apocalypse situation like that. That is a death sentence when all of your stuff is being stolen, and you're now only with your clothing, and there is no food. You and your kid will starve. So they catch up with the guy. He wanted to shoot him, but the kid still said, "No, don't. Wait. No, Daddy, don't shoot him. We are better than this. But yeah, I would say shoot the bastard. I know that sounds cruel. I know this other person has been through so much shit in this movie, probably, and in the book also. So, yeah, I would say shoot the bastard. You know why? First of all, he would bond with people and then betray them and left them for dead by taking all of their food and supplies. So that's all the first reason why I would say I'm gonna shoot you. Second, out of revenge, perhaps, but the second reason is the more important. Did this already one time with you. Perhaps he did it to somebody else before, and even if he didn't, he did it with you. He will do it again by either you catching up and you take it again, you let him live. He will come after you because he know you're a jackpot. He will, if he's desperate, he will do anything, even if it costs his life, to get these life-saving supplies that could save his life, so to say. But he already stole you from you once, so you cannot let him live because he will come after you. Second, even if you let him go and he doesn't come after you, he will do this to somebody else. So the next person who is going to be kind, bond with him, will be betrayed and be left for dead or even be killed. So that's the reason why I would say people like this don't have empathy for a person who would do such a thing to you. If somebody will rob you, kill you, leave you for dead, you have every right to kill them because they will do it. They have done it to you. They will come after you again if they have the chance, and they will do it to other people. And you don't want to meet somebody else who has been let go by somebody else because of suicidal empathy. So they created your problem now, and you want to stop this problem from happening again. I know this sounds crude, but don't have empathy for people who planning to do bad things against you. Don't be like, I will show him love, and he will become a better person. I don't really believe in that, because I've met a lot of how do you say this in a nice way. I've met a lot of people who have been in situations with drugs, drug problem, addiction problems. Perhaps they were jerks, bullies, that kind of people. And I learned these people, 9 out of 10 don't change. These people, they will take advantage of you, of your empathy. They will lie, they will backstab you. When they benefit you, you can take care of, you can have like 2 years a good kind of not relationship is kind of big to say, a sort of kinship perhaps. And when the moment they get a withdrawal, or they are in a bad place and their drug addiction get back, they will tell you, I'm going to kill you. And I'm not exaggerating. These kind of people exist, and they exist all over the place. But this is in good times. This is when there is no famine, no war, this kind of stuff. So imagine this kind of people who are addicted to substances, or they are just crazy in the head, don't have empathy for these kind of people who are already a big liability or a danger in good scenarios, let alone in shitty defense scenarios, what I'm trying to say. And for all the people who say that I don't have enough empathy, I have empathy, I've tried, but I believe in second chance. But third chance, no way, fuck off. And yeah, it will be dangerous to you and your family that you're trying to protect. So yeah, this is my take upon suicidal empathy. I would say if you have ever had some similar situation or had experience with what I'm talking about, yeah, I'm going to give you one more example of suicidal empathy, because it might sound stupid, I was walking in the store with the cart and I thought to myself, oh no, it was the other time. Yeah, I just had a small piece of bread and I thought to myself, yeah, you can go in front of me, no problem. I thought the person only had one thing with them. What I didn't know is their partner came with a full cart. I felt stupid that day. Another thing that I once did, and that is also very stupid of me, I went to a sort of snack bar, I think it's called in English, and there was, I came in with exactly the same time with a certain person, and I said, well, don't worry, I got time, you can go in front of me, no problem. This person ordered for like 12 persons and I had to wait so long. I felt stupid. And yeah, this person did not say like something like, oh, I have a big order, it's better that you go in front of me. Nope. He went, he knew that he had a big order, he knew I would wait for a long time. Even though I was nice to him, he didn't care. And I was fucked in that way. So, suicidal empathy. If you got experience with this, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers.